Number one, so the gore in Halloween Horror Nights has never quite been what it was before 2001. There's been rumors.
I agree, but
there's been rumors that this is going to be a gorier year than the past few. Is that true?
I think it's a very gory year for Halloween Horror Nights. I think it also depends on the type of things you're offering, depending on the gore level. It runs the gamut from giggles and gore, which literally has the word in the title, which is a very gory house, to like Halloween, which there's very little gore in that movie. There's very little gore in that maze. It really is about style, and of course, Michael Myers attacking you, and also witnessing some of those classic kills from the film.
Excellent. Walking Dead, you've talked about how it's the largest maze you've ever done. I'm wondering what that exactly translates in terms of the guest experience. Does it mean the length of the maze you're walking through is longer, or does it mean it's going to be double tracked to get twice as many people through in the same amount of time?
It is literally a longer travel time from the time you enter the maze to the time you exit. It's, I think, 16 different environments. We've got one of the largest casts we've ever had in a maze. In fact, we did the first one of the first rehearsals last night with a portion of the cast. We're talking 60 to 80 people, almost 100 people for the maze total.
Wow.
So about 50 per cast.
It's a big cast.
Huge cast.
So you'll have a longer experience for your wait.
Absolutely.
Compared to other houses.
I mean, if you want to get down to linear feet, it's exactly one maze extra.
Excellent.
I guess that's the best way to put it.
Excellent.
But yeah, if you want to get down to linear feet from the time a guest enters to the time a guest leaves, it's double.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's been very little release so far about Legendary Truth this year. Is there going to be an alternate reality game going on?
I can't comment on that.
You can't comment on it. Okay. All right. Last question, wild card. There's a lot of IP this year. Is there an IP out there that is so out there, so unmarketable, so completely barren of synergy that you'd never get it, but you wish you could do it?
Wow. Yeah, there is actually. There is. And this falls in the category sometimes that I don't want to say it because then it might happen. And then it'll be like, oh, everyone knows we're doing it now. There's a lot of like, one horror film that I've always loved, and it's a really simple movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. It's one of my all-time favorite horror films.
It's pretty obscure, though.
It is obscure.
Not a lot of name recognition.
To your point.
Yeah.
There's no synergistic quality there. It's not really marketable.
Yeah.
But it is a really great movie, and the character in that, the main killer in that, is a really cool-looking character. So it's one I've always liked, but it's always back here going, and there might be some aesthetics we'll apply from. That's the cool thing about creating the event is all of horror is kind of our toolbox, and we kind of pull from some things to create new things or to apply certain aesthetics, even some of the IPs that we collaborate with. So it's Halloween Horror Nights for us creatively is a kind of a neat toolbox.
Awesome. So my first question is, the street experience has gone through a big evolution in the last couple of years. Last year being based all on one IP, the year before that with Roaming Hordes. And it seems like this year you may be going a little back to the traditional scare zone concept. I'm just curious what kind of lessons you guys learned from the last couple of years that you've applied and that have led you to go to what you have this year.
Well, over the last couple of years, our park in general has seen some major changes with the addition of the Superstar Parade and all that stuff. So Halloween really had to fit into how do we make Halloween street experience mobile so we can bring it in and out. That's the learning that we've learned over the past couple of years. And we've learned so much that this year we were able to apply that learning and be able to set up these 4 uniquely different scare zones. But making them all mobile enough that they can come in and out of the park every single night. That was the biggest learning. And Nick Collins, who is our designer on streets this year, we didn't want to allow the fact that we had to make things mobile. That meant make things small. We wanted things in grand scale. So we had to step outside of ourselves to go, okay, we want these things to be huge. We want them to be a big impact in our street. How do we make it mobile and make it big? So they're good challenges that we throw at ourselves, but this is what we learned. And what I love about bringing back the 4 unique scare zones is that it is different from the past couple of years. You know, sometimes we don't want every year to be the same.
Sure.
You know, we want things, you know, different and unique year to year. So I don't know what we're going to do next year, right?
Right.
We may do something completely off the wall next year. So.
Now, just looking at the map, it looks like the scare zones are kind of front-loaded towards the front half of the park, and then from Simpsons all the way around through London, you really don't have anything specifically designated. Are there going to be mobile experiences that kind of roam in that area?
We'll still have an environmental feel of Halloween Horror Nights, but those areas are so inundated with more of the food offerings, the merchandise offerings, the Bill and Ted offerings, the house entrances. That we have tried to put characters back there, and we've just learned that it is too. The impact of the scare doesn't necessarily work in those places, especially when we get really, really busy. So we wanted to do those uniquely different and put all of our scare zones towards the front of the park, where you have a wider environment that you can do more with.
And am I correct in assuming that for IP reasons you can't use the London area for scare zones?
We didn't want to use it this year because, one, that is so new. We just wanted it to live on its own. Plus, like I said, that back half of the park is so Bill and Ted centric that we just didn't want to go in there this year.
Sure. Now, moving over to Rocky Horror. Same basic show, same script that we've had for the last...
Same basic show, same basic script.
Any of the cast returning?
Yes.
Okay.
About half of the cast from last year are returning. We did make some updates to the video that plays along with the show. I think everyone will, that's a true Rocky fan, will be very pleased with those updates.
Oh, good.
So,
Good. Now, I will say, as I consider myself a longtime Rocky fan since I founded the cast in town.
Yes.
The one issue that I've had is with the operations or security cast members and their reaction to the audience and their callback lines. I know people who have been removed for saying lines that are perfectly acceptable in the movie theater. How do you communicate both with your guests and with operations as to what is acceptable?
This year, we are communicating more when we're loading in our house as to they're acceptable and unacceptable. We don't actually write that out, but when we walk into this PG-13 event, we have to remember that sometimes what is acceptable in a really closed environment of a movie theater might not be acceptable in an open environment of a theme park. So I think we're trying to help our guests to understand that this is the environment they're in, but it's also, I think the guests have to understand that they're not in a movie theater, they're still in a theme park where people can come in and out of this space.
Sure.
You know, they didn't buy a ticket specifically for Rocky Horror, they bought a ticket for Halloween Horror.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.